Good morning, everyone. This is Sharon. I have been working on my Christmas cards this week. I always like to hand make my own Christmas cards. And this year I decided to use a couple of kits from Raindrop Lila for my cards. And I thought I would turn on the camera and show you what I did. Lydia actually asked me if I would be a part of her design team recently. And of course, I was honored and happy to do that. And so this is actually my first official design team project since I'm using her kits for my card this year. So what I made was an envelope, of course, to mail them out. And this is from her Charlotte's Vintage Collection envelopes and journal cards. She's got a number of kits as part of the Charlotte's Vintage Collection, and the envelopes and journal cards is just one of those. And I will be sure to put links down below for the kits that I used. And then for my card, I've used several items from, again, the Charlotte's Vintage Collection, but these are papers from the Tall Journal digital layout kit. I used that for my base on the front and for the base on the back. And then I also used several images from her Emmanuel kit, which is an actual Christmas kit. So this picture of Jesus and Mary, and then this little image of the Nativity on the back. So to get started, I am using a recycled postcard as my card base. And then I've got this image for the front and this for the back. So I'm just going to glue those onto my postcard here. And I size them to fit pretty close, and I'll just trim around the outside once I have those glued on. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to line that up. And I will cut around that. Just trim that up so I get rid of all my little white edges. Okay. And then I'll do the back side. One thing I wanted to mention is, as you can see, these are not your traditional Christmas images, but I really like to play with different patterns and colors and things when I'm doing Christmas, just to mix it up. I mean, it's got some of your traditional red and green in the pattern, but not something you would typically think that you would use for Christmas. Okay, so now on this side, I'm going to, again, try to get that lined up. I could have trimmed it a little bit more closely, and then it would have been easier to line up. We'll see how good I did. Okay, I'm going to just trim off the excess. All the way around. Okay, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this white off the top here. Okay, so we have a front and back covered. And now, if we look at our original here, you'll see that I have some layered images here, and then I've got this Merry Christmas stenciled in some cream paste at the bottom. So I'm going to do that next so we can let that dry for a little bit. and then work on the other layers after. So I have this stencil from Tim Holtz, and what I did was take some painter's masking tape and just mask off an area above this Merry Christmas, because that's all I want on there is this Merry Christmas at the bottom. So I'm going to line that up in the bottom of my tag. And then I like to use this Stamperia Mixed Media Art cream paste. I really love the consistency of it. It's kind of light and fluffy. Now I've had this one a while, so it's a little bit thicker than what you would find if you first open it. But I'm just going to take a little bit and put it on a palette knife. And then scrape that on. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to set that aside to dry. And set my paste aside. So next, I'm going to work on these two layers. So I've got my image of Jesus and Mary, and I'm going to layer that up with this scripty page, and this is the same one that I put on the back of my card. So I'm just going to take this tear ruler that has a little bit of a jagged side and tear this out. I'm just going to go right along the image. And then maybe someplace like that. And then I'm going to glue that on here and just layer that up a little bit. I usually use glue stick when I'm adhering layers together just to get nice full coverage. Okay, and then again I'm going to tear on the outside and maybe leave about a 1/4 inch or so border. This side. I like this tear ruler because it's clear. You can see through it. Okay, so that is layered up for the front of our tag. And while we have our paste drying, we could also work on our backside layer. So what I did here was I took another image from the Charlotte's Vintage Pages from that tall digital layout kit and sized it up so that it would fit on here. And I just want to rough up the edges and ink those and make it look tattered and worn. So I'm going to cut this one out as well, or tear it out. Now, just one note, this I printed on some parchment paper so that when I curl up my edges, I don't have the white on the back. It's like a kind of an ivory color. And the bases for my tag, this background, and actually all the other images, I just printed on regular copy paper. So again, I'm going to use my jagged tear ruler and just tear this out. So we've got a nice jagged edge on there. Okay, and then I'm going to age that up a little bit by just kind of creasing over the edges and then tearing them a little bit here and there, just so I can see this outside border of that scripty layer underneath. Okay, give it a few more tears. And then I'm going to go around it in ink. Now, I like to use, I don't do a lot of inking, but when I do, like in a case like this, I like to use this gathered twigs. It's just got a nice, kind of a pure brown color to it. It's not too orangey or greeny or any other tint. And I'm just going to give that a little bit of an aged look. Okay, let's see. Make sure we get enough of that tattered look here. Okay, so I've got all my layering pieces finished. Now I will be back after my paste is dried and we will finish putting it together. Okay, I am back and my Merry Christmas stencil paste is dry. So I am going to glue on our image to the front. Okay. And then for our back side, we will take that piece that we aged and glue that on there. And for this one, I won't be so concerned about getting the glue to the edges because I don't mind if those are lifted up a little bit. Okay, and then we will take this little oval nativity image and I'm just going to glue that up in this corner. I just love how all these kits play so nicely together. Okay, so that is our back side. And then the final touch for the card is this little velvet tab I'm going to put on the top. So I just cut a piece of small velvet ribbon. I'm just going to fold that in half and staple it to the top. Just adds a little bit of interest and prettiness to the top. There. So the card is all set and we have this blank space in the back to put our Christmas message to friends and family. And what's left then is to create our envelope. So I used this coordinating envelope, and this is an envelope that Lydia has in the Envelopes and Journal Cards kit for the Charlotte's collection. And she's got just a ton of different envelopes in that kit. And so I picked one that I liked that coordinated well, I thought, with the card. And you basically print your template to size. I made sure that it fit my card. And I also printed on the back side so that when I fold this up into my envelope, the inside will have this nice pattern on it. What I like to do for the envelopes, just to get a nice clean fold on those, is to take a little scoring tool. I have this one. It's got these little round knobs on the end. And I just take my ruler and line it up to the spot where I want to make my crease, and then just score along that line. And when you're printing, now I've got this printed on a lightweight cardstock, so cardstock sometimes doesn't fold real nice without the scores. And I'm just going to do the same thing for the flaps on the sides. Make sure I got that lined up where I want it. Fold those in. And then I need one more score for the flap on the top. Fold that one. And then we can just glue this flap to the side flaps and you've got your envelope. It's quite simple, quite easy, and it looks really nice. Sometimes on these, if I'm using cardstock, I might take this flap and fold it back this way first and then forward. It just doesn't get quite so stiff then. And once I glue those together, it will look just like this. So that is my little craft with me for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm very excited to be on Lydia's design team, and next month I will have another project for you, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining me. Bye.